So good evening or good night from Sofia, Bulgaria here. It is about 5 past midnight and I decided to do another Q&A because I have another Dutch person, I'll keep him anonymous, 25-year-old guy. No education, no formal degree. He's worked in healthcare, is currently having a burnout. So living with his mom, there's no father in the picture because he is not in contact anymore with his father. And another character in this picture is his sister. So the sister of the person who wrote me is a single mom as well. And she has 4 daughters of, 13, 11, 5 and 3 years old. All of those want to move to Bulgaria to live off-grid. I'll just roughly translate a bit of the message I received. The guy wants to go back to basics, live in a part of the world where he can be more self-sufficient. He expects a lot of negative influences in the Netherlands in the coming years, or on a global scale, let's say, and he doesn't want any part of that. He says that I'm quite awake about the world and how the system works or how it malfunctions, let's say. And after a long research or a long look into the world, he found that Bulgaria is best for his desires, meaning living closer to the land. He's spent time learning how to grow vegetables and stocking these, let's say, so conserving them in a sense. And they're also looking into making their own medicine from natural products and herbs. So they have the idea to start a business in Bulgaria selling herbs and oils and creams. So money is a big issue for these people. This group of people wants to come to Bulgaria. So it's this guy. It seems to all weigh on his shoulders. So his mom wants to come and his sister with her 4 daughters. So that means just the guy and all of those. Now, I'll just be fairly honest. I think this is a rather bad idea for the situation that you're currently in. So I'll speak to you directly. You're 25 years old. You currently have a burnout in the Netherlands after you worked in patient care, or you worked with, let's say, elderly. I don't know what you did exactly, but you have no formal degree. You're 25. Money is an issue for you because you repeatedly ask me how you can do this without a significant amount of money. So you mentioned that you want to simplify your life. You want to come to Bulgaria to have a simpler life and go back to basics. Now I'll need to stop you right there because I hear this a lot from people. They write to me that, hey, I'm currently home, I'm not working, I'm with a burnout like you. I live with my mom, but I want a simpler life. Sorry, but how much simpler do you imagine that your life's going to get? I'm sorry, but you're still quite young and yet you currently have a burnout, yet at the same time, you look into simplifying your life, but fail to realize that you're about to make it a whole lot more complicated. Just the mere fact that you want to go off-grid or back to basics in Bulgaria is about to multiply the difficulty in your life with a factor of about 10. You currently don't know difficulty. So if you truly suffer a burnout, I'm not a psychologist. I recommend you either stay home and keep the recommended guidelines, keep your rest, and recover from that if it's a serious burnout, or contact a psychologist, someone who can actually help you. I'm not that person, but you might need a swift kick under the ass. There's also no father in this picture. I'm not saying I'll replace your father in giving you a swift kick under the ass, but he just might have done that instead of me. So I'll do it through the screen. Get out from your mom's place. You might need to choose a different path currently than focus on Bulgaria and going back to basics in this country. Your life will become so complicated by coming here with your single mom, your single sister, and her 4 kids. I'm sure they're great people. I'm not blaming them for anything. But that's quite some baggage that you're taking on. And it seems like this is currently all resting on your shoulders. Because if they truly cared about you in the current sense, let's say you had a burnout, they'll probably notice that it's quite serious perhaps. You have a burnout at 25, it's not very common. The last thing they should do is burden you with setting up a company in essential oils and medicine manufacturing, which is a ridiculous idea currently because those are all highly regulated and essential oils is not something you make money on, it's just a hobby. You're not going to succeed with that in Bulgaria. There's just no way. But your mom and your sister, they should probably relieve you from the burden that you currently face. And just the fact that you're out researching all of those things should give them a sign that you have too much. You carry a heavy backpack that perhaps you need to put down a bit. So that gives me the impression that perhaps they're not very involved with your recovery from your so-called burnout, if you have that. And I think that's a big red flag. Your mom, now being the household figure, she should be the one pulling the cords on this, right? Because she's older than you, she's the adult, you're still relatively young. 25 is basically, you're just an adult. When I was 25, I was doing cool stuff, but I was still, it's a world of difference compared to now when I'm 30. I wonder how much they're truly involved with your, with how you do and how you're entering your adolescence currently, your adulthood. So that bothers me a bit. I'll get to the part of where you want to live remotely and live off the land. Basically impossible. You will make your life extremely hard. I'll say it like this: you will suffer immensely. Okay, you're too young. You have too many people with you and a family of young kids. You'll be too remotely to put those kids into school. You'll struggle to buy a plot of land. You don't know the language. You'll need to find, to make your idea feasible, a plot of land where you can grow all of these things for your oils, which is not feasible. Let's say you want to make almond oil or whatever. We don't really have olive oil here. Whatever oil, you'll need to make a plantation of trees. It will take them years to grow. You will not have any money, and money is already an issue for you, as you mentioned. Forget about the essential oils, forget about medicine because it's highly regulated. It's very nice if you can find some herb to cure your headache, but you cannot go ahead and sell medicine or make money with it. It's a bad idea, you need to forget about that currently. If you want to start such a sort of business or such a hobby while you are in Bulgaria, you'll need to find yourself a full-time job here or wherever else, and you do that on the side as a hobby until it grows into something that can make you a separate stream of income. It doesn't work currently. You don't have the money to buy a plot of land or a house. You don't have the money to renovate a house. So you're about to get yourself into a huge nightmare. I suggest you forget about these plans entirely. I'm sorry. And I need to get into something else because you say that your life currently is quite hard. You want to simplify it, but I don't know if you're currently living on the dole, but you're living on your mom's stream of income, whatever that may be. You're probably under a blanket in her basement. I don't know how it looks exactly or what type of a kick under the butt you need. But that's as simple as it gets. Life doesn't get any simpler for you. Apart from mental health, struggles perhaps, which I cannot help you with. You need to get your act together and if I can advise anything, I would say you can only do that by getting out of your mom's place. I'm sure she's great. I'm sure her sister's great. They must all be lovely people, but it's time to pull off the band-aid because you're 25. And just the fact that you tell me that you look for a simpler life while currently you are in the protective harbor, you're under the wings of your mom, tells me that you haven't seen enough of the world, you haven't stood on your own legs sufficiently in order to make such life-changing decisions and to move abroad with 5 ladies, including very, very young kids of 3 years old. You will destroy yourself in the progress. You will destroy yourself in the process of coming here and trying to make that work with little kids that are not yours. And I'll tell you why you need to get out of your mom's place. First of all, because they're currently a burden on you and you're a burden on them. And it's not supposed to be like that in your young adulthood. Their kids, your sister's kids, and your mom being single and your father not being there is very tough. But none of that is currently your problem and you kind of need to let that go. It is time for you to step into the world on your own as a young adult male. And you need your independent place to achieve your freedom, your independence, and the ability to spread your wings and to actually develop yourself into some direction away from your mom. I was a mama's boy when I was very young. I love my mom very, very much. I love my dad very much. I come from a stable family. But there's such a thing as a division of the love they get you. Your father, your mom gives you the protective love you cannot do without. You cannot grow up without. Your dad gives you the tough love. The tough love. At least that was the case with me. I got the tough love. I got a kick under my ass, not physically, but mentally. My dad made me tough. Made me toughen up. He made me grow up. He pushed me into the world when I stayed with them too long. He said, "You're going out. You need to stand on your own feet. You cannot stay with us. You must, it's for your own good. You must go out into the world and you must do it now." That was when I was about 21. And even before, when I was 18, I was pushed out to work in France. Not because we were necessarily poor, but I needed to get the experience, to get my... to open my wings, let's say. And when I was 19, I went to work in Belgium. Then I went to work in Belgium again. When I was 20, I moved to Romania. When I was 21, I moved to Bulgaria. And I never looked back. And I cannot look back because once you've landed on your own feet, there's no way that you go back to your mom, no matter how much you love her. Mom gives you the protective type of love that says, "Hey, you always come back here. We have a bed for you." And the exact balance is what's very beneficial for kids and young adults. I'm not saying your mom is lacking in any sense, but it seems that she's quite overprotective. And who blames her? Who doesn't want their kids with them forever, right? Who doesn't want that? But the saying says, if you love someone, set them free, right? That's what my parents did with me. They pushed me into the world. They saw me flourish. They still see me flourish. They miss me and I miss them. But I come back and our relationship is even closer because when I haven't been home for 3 months, I cherish every second that I spent with them. Whereas when I was 20 and I came back from school or from work, whatever, I didn't cherish those moments because I had just seen my parents that very morning and I just throw my backpack into the corner and walk up to my room without speaking to my dad and mom and just saying, "Hi, how was your day?" I said, "Yeah, boring, bye." That's how you can be with each other but still live detached from them. You grow apart even though you're in the very home together with them. And I'll tell you one thing, even if you're on the other side of the world, you might even grow closer to them, right? If you see what I mean. Your relationship will only get more intense the more you are away. Yes, you go back every once in a while, but they need to see you grow and flourish and independent before you and they can both be happy and find peace. You must rip off the band-aid, pull up the anchor from the harbor into your ship, and you sail out into the wide sea on your own. You must go alone. You cannot bring your sister, right? She must make her own plan for herself and her family. You cannot burden someone else with your family, right? That's on you. Parents are responsible for their kids. You don't have kids, right? You are going to go into the world and start your own family. And you have every right to. You're 25, okay? Now you should have made progress earlier. You're 25 now. That's still relatively young, but you should have gone out already. You should have met people. You should have had different jobs. You should have lived in different countries if you had that interest. So if you don't do it now, you're going to be running late. If we just forget about that whole business idea, which will not come to fruition anytime soon, what you might want to do is look into other options to grow a career of some sort, whether that's in the healthcare field you currently are, whether it's you going to do another form of education that I can tell you what that will be. I don't know your interests. But your 20s are kind of important when you build your habits, you shape yourself, your character, your resume as well. If you want to have some sort of corporate career, I'm not saying that's necessarily the holy grail to happiness in life, but once you have a start, you have some large company names in your resume, you just have that on there. And then you can move around, you look around, you might switch careers, but you have some large names on your resume, you have some sort of interest that you head into, you can make several career steps, grow into a promotion perhaps. You have something that you can show when you are 30 years old. You can say, hey, I've done this and this in my 20s, did a degree, or I don't have a degree, but I got an apprenticeship. I worked here, I worked there, I worked in Poland, I worked in Bulgaria for these and these corporations. You have something to show. You don't want to end up 30 with a debt to a plot of land in a foreign country that you don't know the language of. That was perhaps a bad investment. That for a company that didn't work or you later needed to pull the plug on because you were making losses. That for a business in essential oils. None of these things are currently things that you would want, okay? So try to steer away from that, please. Get out of your mom's place, as I said. Go into the world on your own. And how you do that is up to you. You don't need to necessarily take a degree right now, although it wouldn't hurt you. It's good to have at least a bachelor's when you want some sort of career in a company. If you're not going to go that way because perhaps money is an issue for you, try to get into some sort of company, no matter where it is, Bulgaria or anywhere else. Although, what makes me believe that you're a bad business person is just the very fact that you don't take the opportunities at hand right now. When you're at home, you can easily get an online degree, easily. You can go study for free in Poland or in Finland, right? You have free degrees that you can take as a European. At the same time, the Netherlands, that you're just throwing the towel in the ring. You're just trying to abort the whole country. You're just trying to throw it overboard and move somewhere else. Although what you fail to realize is the things that are currently ahead of you and almost served you on a silver platter. The Netherlands is a very large economy with 18 million people, right? Unemployment has never been so low as right now. The job market is absolutely struggling to employ people. They will take you as a 25-year-old man for almost any position that you can think of. They will overlook the fact that you don't have a degree, right? So what you're doing right now is you're failing to capitalize on those opportunities that are right ahead of you, and that disturbs me very much. You look into making your life so complicated by just moving to Bulgaria. You haven't looked into the fact that we don't really have a job market here, right? If you're an expat here, you live in a sort of bubble. The local people don't have the opportunities that I have, for example, right? Not only because I speak Dutch, but also because I can capitalize on working remotely with jobs from abroad. It's not that easy if you need to rely on Bulgaria. I have never worked for a Bulgarian company, only work internationally, all right? You need to realize what you're getting into by moving to a very small and partly crippled economy, okay? We're a market economy, but we don't have the bandwidth that the Dutch economy has here. We don't have it in Bulgaria. We don't have the opportunities that Dutch people have in their own country. Yet you want to come here, you don't have money. You want to take several people with you. You want to start a business here in essential oils. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You've skipped a few decades of your life if you would execute on this plan. You'd skip a few decades of your life that you... Look, your life on the one hand might be dysfunctional currently, your family might be dysfunctional, your life might not feel very good. And it feels like it doesn't work out for you. So what you seem to see as a viable option is to the radical opposite of what you're currently doing. So if the one thing doesn't work, living in a high-tech society like the Netherlands, modern accessibility to everything, I'll just go do the radical opposite and perhaps my life works out then. But no, you need to find some middle ground. You need to find some middle ground. You cannot just go ahead and do the radical opposite. It's a bit like saying, like talking about your politicians or your enemies. Let's say your enemy's enemy is not necessarily your friend, okay? Don't always look at the radical opposite. You cannot just go off grid because your life currently isn't working out in the Netherlands. You have so many things currently in front of you that you're not capitalizing on. As I said, the job market is very attractive. You can learn to negotiate your salary right now. You can work into almost any company as an administrative assistant. I don't know. If you want to go work for Shell, for a large corporation, if you want to go work for an embassy, you want to go on a foreign mission, you want to work for the Dutch embassy in another country as an administrative assistant, you go ahead, you go apply for these jobs, get yourself an interview and you'll explain your situation in a positive light, okay? And you're going to get yourself in some sort of direction that you had not anticipated before, and you're going to find out that perhaps, yes, you might be very interested in the healthcare profession or clinical research with which I work in. That's a whole commercial type of business that you've perhaps never even thought about. Pharmaceutics, clinical research, you have some affinity with healthcare, it seems. You might get just your regular bachelor's degree no matter what and land yourself a job in some sort of direction in healthcare, pharmaceutics, life sciences. You can get a degree in that relatively quickly in a couple of years. You can try without any degree, but you have options currently. Now is the time when you don't have a degree to get yourself an apprenticeship in anything. They need people right now. Yet what you're doing is you're choosing to ignore all of that. You're living with your mom, you're on a burnout. I don't know for how long, God knows. And you're letting it all pass by you. You're letting it all pass by and you choose to throw yourself in the deep end of the pool by moving to a foreign country that you have never been before, you don't know anything about. It looks fun on YouTube. Yeah, look, it looks fun on summer, okay, but I want to see you chop wood in winter, okay, with your burnout. Go out and chop wood while your sister is in the house with a leaking roof and your kids cannot go to school because there's no public transport and your car's not running because it was minus 20 last night. Okay? You're not going to simplify your life. If you do any of the things that you've currently mentioned, you're going to end up in a disaster and an actual burnout. You're going to destroy your life as a young man. Okay? That being said, you say that you're quite afraid of current developments in the Netherlands or the Western world, let's say. Now, I don't know what you currently specify. Is it perhaps World War III that you're worried about, or some sort of digital ID? That sort of jazz that I don't need to get into. There's a lot of moving parts, so I cannot advise you on what will happen in the world. I don't know what will happen in the world. I have no idea. There's moving parts. Things can happen in Eastern Europe, things can happen in the Balkans or in Western Europe, and we cannot predict it. We cannot anticipate it all that much. Is it smart of you to look into some sort of house off grid where you will not be bothered by any of these things? Yes. But you better be very prepared. And if you come to me asking how you can do any of these things without money, I give you a full stop and I'm going to give you a hard time because it's not going to work. You're going to destroy yourself in the process, as I said. Nonetheless, I appreciate that you look beyond your horizon and you're concerned for your family. You want to take them sort of off grid to avoid any negative things that might happen in the Netherlands that you're currently forecasting. Now I can share your concern in some regard. It's not going very well in the Netherlands. Alright. It's good that you're concerned with your direct family. There's no man in your household, there's no mom in your sister's household. So congratulations to you, compliments. But you can only help others after you've helped yourself. You cannot put the oxygen mask on your sister and then on yourself. You can't. You must leave alone. You must leave this year and go into the wide world. I would say that you can perhaps ignore the current circumstances because it might drive you a bit insane and it will certainly not help you alleviate your burnout, okay? Try to go on some sort of media diet where you don't watch the news, you don't watch your favorite YouTube channels, perhaps create a new channel and don't look into the doomsday scenarios, okay? You need to push the brakes a little and not go into, I wouldn't call anything conspiracies, yeah? There are some pretty messed up things happening in the world and we might share the same concern, okay? So I'm not going to call you any conspiracy theorist or whatever, but do push the brakes, please. If you had switched off your TV and your whole YouTube, your whole media for the past 3 years, how would your life have looked right now? Probably pretty much the same, right? Pretty much the same. So you can take a bet. The odds are with you. The odds are on your side that if you switch off your media for the next 3 years, that your life will be pretty much the same afterwards. It's not going very well for the current political establishment that you might be frightened of. So the odds are on your side. It doesn't help your burnout or your mental issues currently if you go focus on that and try to go off grid just because something might happen. Okay? Now, if things will go very wrong and your concerns are all legitimate, then perhaps you might need to escape somewhere, or if the things you're afraid of eventually end up happening. But a lot of people might be in problems, okay? We're in Europe, we're pretty much heavily populated. I don't necessarily think you need to escape the Netherlands right now. I don't think so. And I don't want to go into a lot of more details, but you'll probably be fine for the foreseeable future, okay? A long-term plan might indeed be that you want to set up your own family outside of the EU because you don't agree with the whole bureaucracy and the way current things are going. Okay, look into Serbia. What else can you look into? It's very hard. I also don't have the answers. After the past 3 years, I'm still drawing my conclusions on how I see the world. It's been so complex, there's been so many moving parts. Nobody truly has the answers, okay? But throwing everything overboard right now to go with these 5 ladies to an, a remote location in Bulgaria, I think you're going to um, let yourself in a lot of problem, and I would like to call a halt to it. So I advise you don't do any of that. Go at it alone. I'll tell you one thing, I had my mental struggles when I was an adolescent as well. I was bullied quite a lot. I had some anxiety disorder because I didn't truly know who I was after being bullied for just being gay for most of my childhood. When I landed on my own feet, I didn't know who I was. So what I did is I went into the world. I went backpacking on my own for 3 months. That's 10 years ago. I'm not saying what worked for me 10 years ago will work for you right now. I'm not a boomer. What worked for me might not work for you, okay? But what I did is I actually tried to get to know myself. Like, contrary to you, who says you live in your mom's basement, you don't have any girlfriends because you're trying to get to know yourself, that's not how any of that works, okay? You need to be alone to get to know yourself. Yeah? You do not have anyone cooking for you in that process. You don't have anyone doing your laundry. That's you. You're an independent man, and it's you who must get to know this world and grow to your full potential. The same goes for women, by the way. If there's any women watching, this is not tied to gender. This is not. Each person must grow their independence. Life is just as hard for women as for men nowadays, okay? It always was, actually. Look, I went to Eastern Europe for 3 months on my own when I was, let's say 10 years ago. I landed on my own feet, independent, didn't know who I was, had an anxiety disorder, sort of. I was afraid of my own shadows because I was bullied so badly. I saw violence everywhere, I expected it everywhere. I expected I wouldn't be accepted anywhere on this planet, so I just sort of went to reflect on my life when I graduated. I went to Poland, had a single trip to Poland, to Gdansk, did a backpacking tour through Poland, ended up in Ukraine, then Moldova, then Odessa again, went to Transnistria as well. Did a wonderful backpacking trip. I may need to make a separate video about it once, all the things that I experienced. Then I took a let's say a truck ferry to Georgia, just across the Black Sea. Amazing. Yeah, weird experience, lots of fun with these truckers. Crazy trip. Ended up in Georgia, spent 2 more months there, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. Then I decided I wanted to go to Iran, and my mom said, "No, please come back now. You've done enough. I want you back under my feathers." And I flew back home. That's what I did for 3 months. I came back a different person. My mom missed me, I missed her, but seeing them again, my parents, grew us stronger, okay, grew us closer. You must go at it alone. You must come back a stronger man or stronger woman, if there's any women watching this. Go alone. Don't take your friend, go alone. And you will see that you're far stronger. Your burnout will melt as snow on a hot summer's day. It will just go away. Trust me, if you're in a different environment. If you have any mental struggles, anxiety disorders, like I had, what I did is basically the state of allowing, and I did a sort of exposure therapy. So I sort of allowed my fears to pass through me without offering any resistance. It was a sort of exposure therapy that I did completely with myself. Just took the 3 months to work on my issues, and I helped myself off all of them essentially. That was very tough. I needed to release all the built up energy from being bullied and not truly knowing my place in the world. I needed to release all of that. How you do this? By not attaching yourself to any thoughts or fears. You let it slide through you, let it slide past you as if you're witnessing a cloud. You're observing it, but you're not attaching yourself to it, okay? Might need to make a separate video on that as well. But you can work on your fears, on your struggles, on your burnout, on your own, a different environment. You will not go get a panic attack or something, you'll probably be fine. And you'll realize how strong you actually are, and you'll realize that you can actually see most of the world without any problems whatsoever, and that the world is actually a very magnificent place. And you will also not be afraid of the current things going on anymore. If you go into the world, you'll find that it's pretty safe mostly everywhere. The world is pretty accessible nowadays. You can go to the craziest places and you'll probably be fine. I've been to crazy places I was terrified of and I was fine. Go do your train trip in Egypt. Go to the Middle East. Go to Kuwait like I did recently. Go to Oman in winter. Enjoy the sun. Go to Malaysia. Go to Vietnam. Rent a motorbike. Go to Japan. Eat some ramen, actual ramen. Eat some fresh fish. Do whatever comes up in your mind. And I'll tell you this thing in terms of career choices as well. You must have some sort of interest that currently piques you. That might be Bulgaria. Why don't you just look into working for the Dutch embassy in Bulgaria or anything? Try to find your little niche. Try to find your little thing that piques your interest and take one step in that direction. Get out from under your blanket. Take one step in the direction that sort of piques your interest, no matter what, no matter how weird it sounds. I don't know your interests. Is it essential oils? I doubt it is. I don't think this is your ID. Sorry. Just don't think the medicine, the oils, and starting a farm. I don't think all of this is your ID. Okay, perhaps it's your sister's, and she's expecting some sort of idyllic vacation home, like in the south of France here. And you have some olive trees, yeah, and you press them and you make your oils and you make your wine. That's not how any of this will go, okay? Put it out of your head. Just put it out of your head. Sorry. And if anyone else wants their vacation home somewhere, they can go work for that. You don't have that money and you're not going to finance it, okay? You're not going to take this burden on your back. Don't do it. You will be sorry you did. You need to toughen up. And you cannot toughen up until you've been roughed up by the world. You need to get roughed up by the world. Perhaps you might need to go to Brazil, get your wallet stolen, whatever, and see how the actual world functions. And you're not going to do it in your mom's place. You must go out, see how the world works, and you'll be able to say no after that. You'll be able to stand up for yourself, and actually decide what is best for you and not necessarily for your mom or sister, because only then, after you can help yourself, can you help them. And it's up to you how you do that eventually, if you even want to. Okay? Are they currently helping you? That's the question. I'd be quite curious to know. Look, what was I thinking? Yeah, I think I've pretty much said enough. Look, I just want you to release the current burden that's on your shoulders. Perhaps that also contributes a lot to your burnout, that you feel responsible for these people and that makes you a great guy. And I know I would feel responsible in the same situation. I cannot just say, don't feel responsible for your mom or for your sister. But honestly, you are responsible for you. No man is an island, but each man is an island, you know? You are an island and you must now go take care of that very island. Yeah, you must become a bit more egotistical. You must. Because your future will depend on that. Yeah? So try to release this burden. Try to realize that you are not responsible for other people's kids, for other people's financial stability, for other people's relationships or failed marriages. You're not responsible for your mother or for your father. They might be great people or not, I don't know and I don't care. But none of that should further affect your life. You're 25 now. You must take some big leaps of faith or you'll be late in growing into whatever that might be, okay? So try to relieve the pressure of your shoulders. Try to realize that you're not responsible for anybody else. And that doesn't mean you're a cruel person. It only means that you love each other and you set each other free. You must. You're a Dutch person. We don't have such family ties in the sense that we have each other in a chokehold. We don't do that. And if you do, it's toxic. Get out and take care of yourself, and then you can take care of the others around you. Essential oils, if you like, do it on the side. It will not grow into the business, not right now. Your land project, you can also do that while you have a full-time job. You can have a full-time job in the Netherlands, do research on how to live abroad in Bulgaria, and buy a plot of land from there. You can do all of those things while you spread your wings, you land on your feet, and you smoothly sail into adulthood. That's what you have to do. And then, on the side, you can do all of those things that you just mentioned that I think are bad ideas. You might think they're great ideas. And you can do all of those things on the side while you slowly get your life together. Okay? And I'll tell you one thing, there's nothing better as a young person, no matter your gender, no matter your age, if you're 18 or you're 25, there's no better place than your own apartment that you are going to have with your, whether it's a furnished apartment or not, with your utensils, your cups, your plates, your bed that you invite in who you want, your dates, whether that's guys or girls, doesn't matter. Your couch, your movies you watch, your takeaway pizza, your nights out, your career that you're going to work on, your promotions that you celebrate. Yeah? You waking up to go to your job, you coming back home to your place. It smells like your laundry detergent that you chose. It smells like your perfume. You take your shower with your soap. You do what you want, and that's how you grow up to be an adult. Okay? And you will enjoy these little things so much. Those things that you haven't seen right now, you haven't experienced what it's like to buy your own stereo, for example, or your own TV for your new home. I remember I worked here in Bulgaria for my first year. I got a sort of coupon, and they gave me I could buy whatever I want from the store, from Technopolis. I got a 100 level coupon, so what I did is I bought a stereo. I still have it right here. I bought that stereo. It was a reward for my achievements on my first 3 months on that job. It was a simple help desk IT job. It was the best time of my life. I came in with 30,000 euros in debt. I paid it off all of myself over the past 8 years. Paid all of it off. And I got this stereo. And I was 30,000 euros in debt. My debt. I didn't get help from anyone. My parents put me into this world, and they made me responsible for myself. I wasn't handed anything. Okay? I bought a stereo, and I spent my first Christmas alone abroad. I listened to the Bulgarian program Programa Histo Botev on the radio during Christmas. I was eating alone. It was snowing outside. I was listening to my stereo. Nobody called me. I didn't have any friends. But I was doing my thing with my stereo, my food, and I was starting my life. And I made it a success. But you can only do that by starting on your own, and you work towards your future and your family. Okay? So I think I've said enough. I'm quite passionate about this because I truly care about young people in the sense that there's a lot of confusion in this world, a lot of wrong advice. I'm not saying my advice is correct, but I get very passionate when I hear people say that they're living with their parents and they are struggling. My answer is always, get out. And why do I say that? Because it is exactly what helped me grow to the person I am today. Okay? All of those YouTube videos you've seen, I wouldn't have done that if I stayed in my country or if I stayed in the same job and I was comfortable and lived around the corner from my parents. Okay? If this piques your interest, I know, for example, a lot of people don't watch my videos because they just don't care. They're fine living around the corner from their parents. If this piques your interest in the slightest, then you must chase this dream that you have. You must. You owe it to yourself because in 10, 15 years, you'll look back on your life and thinking, where did it all go? Why was I with my mom so long? I could have lived life in the fast lane, but I chose to let it pass by. Okay? And I don't want you to be that person. So take action this year. No matter what it is, you take a step, you take a leap of faith into the world. And my motto is if you take one step into the world will take one step towards you. The first step you take, there will be a step towards you that you didn't see ahead. Okay? And the world will receive you with open arms. So go get into it. Go achieve what's out there for you. Okay? All the best. And yeah, you're going to do it. Take care.